Ahmed. Very, very unique.
Oh, left hook, and he's got it this time.
Leaping right hand by the Prince. And a hard left.
Red blood's left.
Took one end and got stuck with the other.
To get on top. Good left hook, right hand.
His life story.
Self-belief. He's been the same now as what he was when he was 7. He used to say to me, I'm going to make you very, very rich. I said, that's very nice. He says, now I'm going to be the best fighter to come out of Sheffield, come out of Great Britain. He says, I'm going to be world champion at any weight.
Leopard print shorts did not stay in the amateurs for too long. 2 months later, after the 18th birthday, he went pro to work on the hallmark perks that would catch the viewer's eyes in the future. The debut took place in April 1992 at 115 pounds. Ricky Beard, a holder of a losing record, tested Ahmed's ability to take a punch.
There's that right hand. There's that right hand again.
Beard himself would not boast of such a capacity.
Right hand
And fell victim to a body shot in the second round.
Good shot. Body shot. Well. Delighted young man doing his flip for all to stay.
Nassim returned to the ring in 2 weeks, snapping the right hand from both stances.
Good kick.
He caught the opponent's head with a patented left.
Oh, it's got it top.
The bout following a month later ended just as quickly. The youngster easily dodged attacks. Acted the 8th. And, of course, found the mark.
I said, both his previous fights have ended in round 2, and he's looking to do a job on. Left, got him. And that's it, a third successive second round win here.
Having gone up to 118 pounds in the 2 subsequent appearances, the Sheffield student was more restrained.
Good body shot.
Which did not prevent him from easily dealing with journeymen.
There's the dead. Great body shot.
Before encountering some resistance by Alan Lay, a boxer with a positive win-loss ratio. However, Nassim subjected him to a real-life execution.
That's Phantom, Johnny Armour. Right there from Ahmed, straight to.
The Prince's right hand fired from both stances that evening.
Oh, a beautiful straight right. Lay, still it. Oh, lovely right hand. Slinks down to the canvas.
Back in Leopard in '94, Ahmed entertained the crowd again.
Some spread.
Making the counterparts miss. And fall.
Oh dear.
Thus, in a span of 2 years as a professional, Nas scored 11 victories in a row with 10 knockouts. It was time to add a worthy opposition to the program.
What a breakdance.
In May of 1994, the 20-year-old Brit challenged for the European Championship crown in the bantamweight division. Vincenzo Belcastro was beaten up in a playful manner. In 12 rounds, Nassim couldn't deny himself the pleasure of dropping the rival a couple of times. In October, the up-and-comer went on to conquer the vacant WBC International title. In the super bantamweight division, on the soil of his native Sheffield, Prince met the first worthy opponent, Freddie Cruz, with a record of 45-6.
So now, let's see if
harassing with single shots and avoiding damage.
fancy cut so far through the tassels on his trunks.
Ahmed kept blitzing in with flurries like a tornado.
Oh, what a good shot. See him shaking in the opening round. That is huge.
Showing no respect, he pressed Freddie at will.
don't think I've ever seen a fighter with just so much confidence. Every round, limited. Says, all right, mate, you earned this battle.
But getting the chin checked in the fourth. Nassim demonstrated wrestling and acrobatic skills. In the sixth, he got bored and the referee had to intervene to save Cruz.
This is one game for Cruz, and I'll tell you what, he's got to be, because it's all over. The referee's quite right. He's seen the man wobble. He knows it.
At the time, many pundits criticized Nas for dragging out the spectacle instead of sparking Freddie quickly with knockout blows. In return, the contest against the unbeaten Dominican with 17 wins, Laureano Ramirez, saw its devastating conclusion in the 9th minute. This lead right hook would present issues to all Prince's future opponents. In 1995, Ahmed signed with the promoter Frank Warren, who promised a significant push towards world fame. Meanwhile, while Warren was struggling through the bureaucracy of the largest organizations, Nassim continued to gain experience. In January, the Mexican Armando Castro, who had seen 6 champions in the ring, was ready to give the Sheffielder a tough scrap. But 38 knockouts and 43 wins did not help Castro.
Oh, look at that.
While eating punches in king-sized portions,
Nobody realize that now.
Armando only hit air in response. The referee deemed the action non-competitive and decided to save the veteran's brain cells.
It's a foolish bravery, and it's all over in the 4th round.
Despite the ever-increasing level of competition, the next 3 opponents did not make it out of the 2nd round.
A good punch, but then again, we've got to find out.
The Argentinian Sergio Liendo tried to bite back. Yet having tasted the canvas, he should not have continued. A brutal, truly stiff knockout. The southpaw Enrique Angeles was in the mood for a shootout.
Style, blurring hand speed, punches coming in from angles you don't dream of.
But couldn't find the target for love nor money.
Go here. Angeles doesn't look phased at all and gets in with a couple of punches.
The Brit was laser sharp with signature leaping hooks.
Anybody who can do the top of the tree out there has got to be good.
Looks as if he's easy enough to hit, and he's been hit plenty of times in this first round too.
The culmination was not long in coming.
Around this arena. Right hand and then
A picture-perfect full counter with a stance switch.
effective as the right hand, I'm sure that
And a victory dance long before the TikTok era.
he's going to beat the count. No, he's not. He's knocked out in the 2nd round. There's the backflip.
When I say I'm supreme, people just laugh. Now what are they going to say when I become world champion?
In July 1995, Juan Perez, a veteran of 50 fights, saw the same disappointing result.
His way to yet another quick win. Harris is in desperate trouble again. Down he goes. It is. He's done it again. Another somersault.
I'm not bragging anything, but I'm too good.
With 5 defenses of the WBC International belt, which in fact meant nothing on a global scale, Ahmed became the main contender for the WBO featherweight gold. The announcement turned out to be a scandalous one, since he had never performed at 126 pounds. It is also worth noting that in the 90s, the World Boxing Organization was not considered upper echelon, becoming such only in the 2000s. Despite all the talks, in September of '95, Nas stood across the champion. The Brit Steve Robinson owned a streak of 8 victories with 7 defenses, and was far from a punching bag. The bigger man, Robinson, tried to march forward, but all the shots were way off. Nassim was the boss in the ring. Come the fifth frame, he abandoned the antics and opened with a powerful combination.
Robinson always got it. Down goes Robinson, bringing the second.
Steve got up and went into survival mode.
Been outboxed, he's finding the angles now, and he's beginning to get through.
The exhausted title holder got through 2 more rounds.
The last rally of a proud champion.
In the 8th, the strap was surrendered to the new owner.
In the last couple of rounds, maybe. That's just a slip. That's a slip.
Having floored the champ with a left hook, Prince became the real king at the age of 21 with an impressive 20-0 record. However, the first high-profile belt cost the young talent dearly. Nas suffered a serious hand injury, which would haunt him until the end of his career.
From the more partisan of the Robinson.
Hamed spent the year of 1996 defending the newly captured crown. The March meeting with Saeed Lawal was almost cut short at the 3-second mark.
Oh my word!
The cameraman was just zooming in when Lawal had already been plastered across the canvas. On autopilot, the challenger managed to prolong the bout for another 32 seconds. In a duel with Daniel Alicia, Nas introduced himself as the owner of the palace. The undefeated Puerto Rican with 15 wins and 13 knockouts planned to make the match last longer than Prince's entrance.
35 seconds.
Kicking off with a traditional mockery of the opponent's skills.
A right hand gets through from Hassan with one there.
The champion recklessly stayed in the exchange for too long.
He's not psyched out in any way. Good right hand again.
Having touched the ground for the first time, Hamed was expected to exercise caution or be punished for arrogance. The mind games would not stop nonetheless. In the second lap, Alicia suffered a severe disappointment.
Solid right hand there.
Oh, left hook. And down goes down in both rounds so far. And right to he's won it in round 2. The ninth.
He entered a shootout and came out of it unconscious.
To suffering the first knockdown of his career.
The next contender was a former and future belt holder under various sanctioning bodies, Manuel Medina. Nassim dominated at the outset.
This is the round he predicted he'd win the left hand.
But the Mexican persevered and connected hard more than once.
But that isn't helping his cause, and that's again. Oh, right hand knocks him in scum shield.
Despite landing a lot, Manuel ate a fair share of hefty punches later in the fight.
Glenn has it even at the moment, and a right hand from Hamed as Medina downers. And the warning Hamed's had about keeping his scum shield. Hands low.
After the 11th round, Medina's corner stopped the contest.
The first man to stop Medina.
Nassim chalked up his second dicey performance in a row to the flu. The unbeaten Argentine Remigio Molina, with an impressive record of 27-0, has traditionally had enough in under 6 minutes.
Right hand, he walked under that. Molina took those punches extraordinarily well. Howard. At the moment, Nassim's doing what he wants. Right hand and a thunderous left.
4 successful defenses led Hamed to Tom Johnson in February 1997. Known by the nickname Boom Boom, the 44-2 IBF champion had previously dispatched 11 contenders entering this title unification bout. Against Nassim, each punch clearly had an impact on Johnson.
Johnson backed up against the ropes, has to take another right hand this time.
The Brit, who had been rocked in recent battles, had something to worry about as well.
Decent punches. He's got to try and hurt Hamed.
In the 7th round, the Prince picked up the pace and was not going to let the opponent off the hook.
Gets Johnson going again. Oh, here we go.
Goes from a little short left hook inside, and again Johnson's hurt.
He can be a chilling finisher.
In the next frame, he found a way to blow up Boom Boom's old noggin.
If Nassim can find another big punch like that, a right uppercut in the 8th round, he'll do very well to get up.
An uppercut from hell marked the 25th triumph for Nas. who managed to accumulate 23 finishes and 2 significant belts in 5 years as a pro. A formidable knockout artist was here to stay, not only annoying everyone with his behavior and arrogance, but getting the job done in the ring. Acknowledging the theatrical nature of boxing and the biggest stage being across the ocean, the Brit planned a voyage to North America. In the meantime, while contracts were being prepared, he defended the titles against the veteran Bill Hardy in a single round.
Then another right hand has jacked him when you thought he was going to stay down. It looked as if he would have stopped anyway. He said round one, he needs round one.
In the same hands-by-the-waist style, the Argentine finisher Juan Cabrera was cut short at the 6th minute.
Cabrera is stopped in the second round.
Due to disputes with the promoters, Nassim was soon forced to relinquish the IBF strap, which was no longer needed to set up money fights anyway. The last stop was a return to Sheffield for an October confrontation with Jose Badillo. Despite the Puerto Rican's 20-1 portfolio with 15 knockouts, Nas delivered one of the best career performances.
Again, that right hand working so well, and this is a very confident Hamed.
Look at this, I think he's trying to do all this for the Sheffield fans. He's playing to the audience, trying to taunt Badillo, who's taking all this.
Badillo boldly withstood the jabbing extravaganza for a while.
Previously,
The economical yet undeniable dominance of the Prince became obvious even to the Puerto Rican's corner, and they interrupted the beating in the 7th round.
Not too happy looking now, the big left. This fellow is durable, but even he was wobbled by that. They're right. Blood coming from his nose. This could be the finish now. They want to stop it. Badillo's corner want to stop it.
The coach's game plan was followed to a T. The moment had arrived to produce blockbusters in the biggest boxing venues.
So Nassim Hamed makes it.
The Brits' widely publicized debut at New York's Madison Square Garden took place in December of 1997. This was the first combat trip of the 23-year-old Nassim, who only climbed through the ropes after a 10-minute dance party. The former owner of the prestigious WBC Gold, Kevin Kelly, was waiting for him, with a record of 47-1, with 32 knockouts to show. Using the size advantage and a crisp jab, the American southpaw forced the adversary to fight with the hands up for the first time ever. A double knockdown in the 2nd round awakened the Prince.
His gloves touch the canvas, the count begins. The 2nd knockdown for Kelly. So 1 knockdown.
In response, Nas himself introduced the opponent to the floor.
I think the mistake he made. There's the power. There's the power you were talking about.
Kelly managed to make the scrap competitive in the 3rd.
Takes a hard left from damage. Kelly lands.
Yet the tit-for-tat exchange in the 4th
Down goes Kelly on too hard. Kelly a little slow to respond here. You got to be careful mixing up with Kelly because he
was in Hamed's favor.
by Kelly and the right hand shot. Leaping right hand by the Prince. And a hard left. And Kelly's down for the 3rd time. Raises the canvas.
A hard and well-deserved win against serious opposition.
Stunning left hand. And Kevin Kelly.
Nassim's next rival was the lineal division champion Wilfredo Vasquez. The Puerto Rican held the prestigious WBA belt, but the organization banned the unification of titles. A lone loss in 23 appearances over 8 years made Wilfredo a force to be reckoned with. In the 2nd frame, Vasquez managed to wobble the reigning king with a right hook.
Oh, countering right. Good shot.
Figuring out the timing, Hamed scored a knockdown in the 3rd round.
Very unique.
Oh, left hook, and he's got him in front. They'll have to count that.
And repeated in the 6th. After the Puerto Rican threw a punch despite the referee's command and decided to get on Prince's nerves,
Hanging around, past each other.
his minutes were numbered.
We'd like him to do that.
Looking for the big one, and a good run. We've got to be on the verge here. It is shot in round 7.
With a record of 30-0 with 28 knockouts and 11 championship-level victories, the 24-year-old Nas became a global star of the featherweight division. On Halloween 1998, Hamed returned to the U.S. to face the third world champion in a row, Wayne McCullough. He entered the arena to the sound of Michael Jackson's Thriller, but failed to fulfill the promise to bury the Irishman. McCullough, who had never been face-planted, survived this time as well, losing by decision. Wayne ended Nas's streak of 18 knockouts in a row.
Finds the Prince's body. Right hand up the pipe by man. And McCullough is likely to earn some other chances.
The Brits' declining interest in training was becoming apparent. The behind-the-scenes scandals in his team did not help either. Signing with a new promoter, Nassim also got rid of the long-standing coach, Brendan Ingle. The million-earning prince did not want to give away the 10% due under the old agreement.
I feel betrayed. The only problem is all about money.
Ingle, on the other hand, was not going to put up with the lazy attitude in the gym.
Funny, so he took me 14 years. So he thought he knew it all. So now he wasn't going to give me any credit. You know, be kind to everybody on your way up because you'll meet them on your way down.
After the breakup, the Brit turned to the famous trainer, Emmanuel Stewart, and Ingle said that Nas had 4 solid performances left in him. If he only knew how accurate that prediction was. Hamed started the last year of the millennium with a showing in April against the undefeated Paul Ingle, with a record of 21 wins with 15 knockouts. The old coach's namesake spoiled Nassim's second fight in a row, refusing to be finished in the opening rounds.
They didn't have another pair of brand new red gloves left. Some Paul Ingle got stuck with the other. Don't play. Prince does. Style yourself a knockout artist and say you were going to dominate your opponent.
Paul was knocked down twice, but got up. In the 9th frame, the challenger even seized the initiative, bloodying the champion's face. Nevertheless, in the 11th, the Prince sent the stubborn counterpart to the floor for the third and last time.
Win this fight, and if a knockout presents itself, let it happen.
Second 11th round knockout of Prince Nassim's career.
Despite the positive outcomes, the flaws that spelled trouble more than once were becoming apparent. Bigger and more patient opponents were able to catch him on exaggerated slips.
Man is a puzzle that Kelly is unable to solve.
An excellent chin and tremendous power helped out. Still, at the highest level, this was not enough. The Sheffielder's main achievement of 1999 was the WBC belt, which he won in an uneventful contest with Cesar Soto. Spending an overwhelming portion of the bout in the clinch, Hamed was more remembered for wrestling fouls, not for sharp strikes.
In a round and a half.
The Mexican surrendered the title only after the final bell. Subsequently, the organization soon took the strap from the Brit. It was the second time in his career.
WBC champion.
In 2000, Nassim returned to form, but only showed up in the ring twice to defend the lone remaining WBO gold. In the March performance versus the South African Vuyani Bungu, a mediocre outfit and entrance wasn't going to cut it. In London, the Prince came down to the ring on a magic carpet, Aladdin style. For 3 rounds, Nas peppered the opponent with jabs, throwing power punches here and there.
As well, and Bungu looked a bit hurt by that. Just rather ran out of stamina before finding the knockout punch, like the champion to win it. And Bungu taking some.
And having measured for the cross in the 4th. Hamed closed, ending the Disney fairy tale with a straight left.
Oh, and a big left hand puts Bungu on the floor in the 4th round, and I'm not sure he'll get out from that.
The next challenge was Augie Sanchez with a record of 26-1 and 23 knockouts. The last American to defeat Floyd Mayweather in the amateurs wasn't going away easily. The battle quickly turned into a two-way slugfest. Having been caught by a cross, the Sheffield native suffered an uncounted knockdown.
He can do that, begin to call. He's got the one from Augie Sanchez, and Hassan is down.
Sanchez got dinged as well,
His power punches into his eye. Top of that shot. Sanchez is hurt.
but returned the favor immediately with a left hook.
Should he be trading? Has he got a power bomb again? And left hand, and Hassan nearly went down. Sanchez is catching Hassan with some big shots. Back comes the Prince. This is astonishing.
In the third, the gunplay continued.
Left again from Sanchez. I hope Sanchez does something to at least enhance his reputation. Well, he's done that already.
Towards the closure, Sanchez's gas tank was drained.
Left hand from Hassan. Sanchez going to 12 for it. He's caught.
Smelling blood in the water, the Prince sealed the deal in the fourth.
Well, the right hand together with top. Good left hook, right hand. Sanchez is down. And the title, it was not a perfect performance, but it was
This defense of the WBO belt, which Nassim has owned since 1995, was the 15th and the last. Another hand injury, a bad one this time. After the surgery, Hamed would not show up in the gym for half a year, gaining a ridiculous amount of weight, 35 pounds. Even so, during the departure from boxing, the enterprising Brit recognized the opportunity to cash in. Anticipating the end of the athletic adventure, Nas surrendered the title. Still the lineal champion, he began campaigning for a super fight with Marco Antonio Barrera.
I want Barrera next. I'm gonna knock him out, and I'm gonna make history. Bring it back to Sheffield. Bring it back to England.
But before moving on to the pinnacle of Nassim's career, let's briefly touch on the Prince's instinct-based style, which allowed him to flaunt his own invulnerability for years. Despite the tendency to show off,
Getting that right hand working.
and the power that only Mother Nature could bestow,
the ground. Good left hook, right hand. And Sanchez is down.
the Brit has always been a well-schooled counterpuncher. To successfully maintain this strategy, Hamed relied on a quick and precise jab. Never investing too much into the poking shots, Nas controlled the distance, noticing the opponent's blows in advance and displaying excellent slipping skill. His greatest equalizer was the blazingly fast uppercut from either hand. The upward punch worked both on the lead
Finished the first round is because now.
Hero doing lapped off the floor.
and on the counter. The right uppercut was most effective when paired with the signature left hand.
There we see it from another angle.
Another important component was the ability to change stances on the move, defending and attacking with hooks from all sorts of angles.
Really? Land the punch. Have a step with that now. He's got it going here. Big right hand. He walked under that. The leader took those punches. Extraordinary. But how is
If the opponent shells up, the body is always there to be punished. After figuring out the range and the timing, the Prince presented the antagonist a false target, capitalizing on the predictable reaction.
the main thing about him is he's not actually Nassim ringing around this arena. Oh, terrific right hand and then
A real monster who achieved his goal in the ring, forcing rivals to fight with emotion.
leaping right hand by the Prince. And up high.
A possible antidote could be a tough counterpuncher with an impenetrable defense and a lot of patience. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a Mexican who was chosen by Hamed himself. The baby-faced assassin scored 38 knockouts in 55 outings, but by that point had already fell short 3 times. To get this bout, Barrera gave up the belt in the category below, having split $10 million, 2 of which went to Marco. Everyone was satisfied. The IBO title was on the line for the special occasion. The undefeated star with 31 knockouts and 35 showings was a 3-1 favorite for bookies. Nevertheless, on April 7, 2001, in Las Vegas, the boxing capital of the world,
briefly dazed him early in the round, later came on.
You got to work on his eye. Excellent right hand body shot. Shades of the Cesar Soto bout in Detroit. Coming into the ring. Hard left hand by Prince Nassim. Countering Barrera inside. Nassim's power that Barrera is fighting the way he is. This fight is to move to the left. Stay away from that left hand. Big left hand by Barrera inside. Every round, Barrera should send him to the ground to connect with a left jab. Has the quick combination there. Big left hand by Prince Nassim. Lost the championship. Not only so, he made him tuck his head just a little bit by telling him it looks more like he's doing more damage to you, rather than saying, "There you are." But there it is.
Will tell you that Ahmed has found out he's in with a troop.
How do you have it through 6? Okay, Jim, I got it going back and forth. 57, 3 rounds apiece. When Marco Antonio Barrera opens up, that's what Barrera is doing. He's pacing himself. Barrera with the right to the belly. Let's fight it like Barrera doing. Clowning with a clown. Big right hand to the body again by Barrera.
He's thinking now. The Royal knows with some royal blood.
Round 7. It appears, at least our eyes. Left hand partially blocked. Landed solidly. And a right to the body by Prince Nassim. As stalking and trying to land that left cross.
The round right here. Barrera goes under.
You see the Prince just will not finish up with a shot. 1, 2.
Fat chance.
Big left hook by Barrera.
With Ahmed. He throws that big left hand. When he misses, he is off balance. He's thrown the left hand, but he hasn't thrown anything with it.
To get it done here. There's a big left hand. Barrera covering up. Barrera's playing possum. There's a hard right hand by Nassim. And Barrera comes back with 2 left hand shots. Hard right hand by Barrera. As is aggressive to turn it against him. Nash will not come back with any shot. Seated and quiet.
The improvisational style that the Prince has developed since he was a boy is being exposed.
He's not taking that advice. He's going for it. He's been on the wrong side of at least one decision here in Las Vegas. He doesn't want it to happen again.